Are you searching for answers? Discover your true identity. Stay tuned to Shalom World.
This Christmas season, we remember Jesus, who is the true light of the world. He came into this world to dispel the darkness. And this would not have been possible without Mary's yes, when she said yes to the angel Gabriel to bear God's Son. During this Christmas season, we as a family come closer to Mary so that we can be closer to Jesus.
Embrace me as your own. We're waiting there for me to come to you and surrender all. Mary, my mother.
My name is Eric Dizon. Growing up in the Philippines, I have fond memories of going to church early in the morning on Sundays with my brother. We were both altar servers, and it was a struggle getting up early in the morning and walking in the church because our church was on the hill. And our life was centered around the church. My mother was a very pious woman, and she always welcomed nuns and priests in our house. And our dad was also belonged to the Knights of Columbus, so we had a good Catholic life, and we used to pray the Rosary every night after dinner, and everybody led a decade of the Rosary. And I remember when I was a child, I memorized the Litany of Loreto. When I was 7 years old, there was a strong super typhoon that hit the Philippines. It killed 300 people. The winds were very strong, about 160 miles per hour, and I was really scared for my life. I thought that I was gonna die. So our family decided to pray the Rosary in the afternoon, and while we were praying, it was very consoling, and it was like a distraction almost. And while we were praying, we heard a big bang. It hit. I could hear it coming from outside our house. And after we finished praying, the rain stopped all of a sudden because it was the eye of the typhoon. And we went outside and we saw this big roof, section of the roof from the building about half a mile from where we lived. And it landed in front of our house and caused no damage. Our neighbors told us that they saw it hover above our house, and all of a sudden it turned and landed in front of our house. I know it was because of the Blessed Mother's intercession that we were spared. When I was in college, I started reading more religious books. I read Thomas de Kempis' Imitation of Christ. I read books on St. Francis, St. Teresa's autobiography of the saints. I read more Marian books, and I went to Mass daily, and I prayed the Rosary, of course. And I thought I had a special calling to become a priest. I thought because I felt in my heart that I had to serve God and Mary. So my mother and we decided to talk to this priest in Chicago. We were talking about I wanted to leave college right away and join their order. But they said, you're only 17 years old. You should finish your college first, and then after you're done, come back to us. So I was kind of disappointed, but right after we left this room, this one lady, she asked us, why don't you join the Legion of Mary while you're discerning? And I said, yeah, that's a good idea. And when she said Mary, I said, oh, yeah, I love the Blessed Mother, so I'm going to join. I went to their first meeting the following day, and in the Legion, you're given assignments, work assignments. You have to go in pair, like not just by, you can't go by yourself. So our assignment was to go to Skid Row to visit some of the alcoholic men. And the following day, we went to this transient hotel, and it was kind of challenging work because some of the men, they're not really friendly. They're not friendly, and the place was kind of seedy, and it reeked of alcohol and vomit. But that's not the thing. The thing that I remember is because when in the book, in our handbook, it said that we do the work with Mary because we are her hands and feet. And then Mary sees and serves Jesus in those people we meet. So that was what motivated me. So in the Legion of Mary, we work in pairs. I know I could not have done all the work if I was by myself. So working in pairs, we learn from each other. And while one person does the work or does talking, the other person is praying all the time. So that's one thing that's good about the Legion of Mary. Now, in college, I started to realize that the priesthood wasn't, I was not meant, I was meant for married life. And I decided at that time that I wanted to marry someone who shares the same values as me. So I was pretty set that I was going to marry somebody who belongs to the Legion of Mary. Within a few years, Marietta, my wife, we were introduced to each other and we started dating. And then we've been married for 25 years. Then we started having children. Our firstborn, Jenny Marie. It seems like the oldest child, she gets all the love. After Jenny, we had 2 other children. The kids were involved with the Junior Legion of Mary. They were active with the Youth for Christ. Something happened to Jenny when she was about 10 months old. We had her in a walker. She couldn't walk by herself yet. So I was in the kitchen preparing milk, and she was in the living room exploring. And then all of a sudden, I heard this terrifying sound, like, her walker, she was driving her walker to the basement. And I rushed to see her, and I was terrified because I saw her slumped her head was on the food tray, and I thought she was dead. And then I called her name, and then she looked up all of a sudden, and she started crying. I don't know, maybe she died. I don't know, but I know that the Blessed Mother protected her. Her personality, she was a beautiful young girl with she was bubbly, she was friendly, and she always smiled. When she was a senior in high school, she attended this Logos retreat, which I think transformed her life. She started becoming more spiritual. I found out that she was actually going to confession every 2 weeks, which means she went to Mass on Sundays 2 times every week. May 30, around 5:30 p.m., that was a Thursday, about 3 days before her graduation. I got a call from Marietta saying, "You have to come home now." And I said, "No, I'm not done with the meeting yet." But she said, "No, you have to come home now." And I thought I did something wrong. So when I got home, there were three policemen who met me. And I saw Marietta, she was crying. And the policeman told me, "Your daughter was hit by lightning." And I said, "Oh, what hospital did you bring her to? I want to go and see her." Then they said she died. Jenny died. I couldn't believe it, and I just right away fell on my knees, and I said, the only thing that came to my head was, "I am all yours, and all that I have is yours." And that's all I can say. And then I asked the policeman, "Where can I see her?" And they said that she was at the coroner's office because she was found in the park, which was a public place. So they had to bring her to the coroner's, and we couldn't see her right away. So we called the thing that bothered me at that time was that, nobody, here's my daughter, she died, and there's nobody there praying for her. and that bothered me a little bit. So the following day, we called our relatives and friends, but the following day, we went to mass, and with the rosary, we made arrangements for the funeral, and then we saw Jenny's body. The other thing that bothered me too was I thought that her body would be all burnt because they said she was hit by lightning. Actually, the lightning hit the ground, and she was killed by ground lightning. So there was no visible marks on her body. She was just like asleep. When we got home, we saw these news media, and they wanted to talk to us about Jenny. I don't know how they found out, but because of that, the news spread, and then it went to the internet, the social media, and then so many people started praying for her and for our family. And I think it's because of the rosary we said at church, with the Blessed Mother, she really cared about her. And then we had one of our friends, when the day when Jenny died, she said she saw the lightning, and she said it seemed like it was a different color, and then she thought that the Blessed Mother was coming down from heaven, and she didn't know that Jenny was under there. But that's what they told us. So I think when Jenny died, the Blessed Mother was with her, and that was comforting. That afternoon and the following day, there was a beautiful rainbow outside our house, and Jenny she liked rainbows, so there was a beautiful big double rainbow in front of our house, and to me that was like a confirmation, that she was okay.
At that time, we were so heartbroken, and seems like we lost a part of me. I gave birth to her, and being a mom, it was so difficult for me to really go through all those emotions. I have seen Eric become more involved with the Legion of Mary. It seems like almost like maybe 90% of his time he will be serving the Legion of Mary. I will be also attending a lot of meetings, trying to increase the number of presidium in the Diocese of Joliet. So that kind of helped us with those struggles, we knowing the fact that our Blessed Lady is with us.
Blessed Mother, she lost her son, Jesus. Losing a child, it's different, I guess, because we're supposed to die. Blessed Mother was losing Jesus. It's like we're sharing just a little bit. She only had one son. I had 3 children. And then, Jesus was tortured. And so it's like a little sharing of, just a tiny sharing of what she suffered in Calvary for us, for our redemption. So I thought that was, that came to my mind. Also the thing that, that so many people die with nobody there. When Jenny was at the funeral mass, there were like 14 priests, and the bishop came too, and the church was full. It was packed. People were parking like three blocks away just to go into the church. So that was very consoling. And I know it was, because of the Blessed Mother intercession.
Mary, I entrust myself totally to you. My body, my soul, my goods, and even the value of my good actions.
Every day of our lives, knowing someone is not here physically with us, but as we serve through the Legion of Mary, we know that the Blessed Mother took care of her, and she was there when that incident had happened. It felt somehow the assurance that as we go through these lives, if you bring the Blessed Mother with you, in your heart, it gives you the peace. Although I am hurting at that time, even now, as I go through, the pain gets lighter, knowing her presence, knowing her love, her grace, her humility, it seems like the burden gets easier, the work gets lighter or even more enjoyable. So even it becomes a service to everyone that I meet at work, or to everyone that we meet, even the stranger. I probably am not the best parent, maybe not the best worker, not the best wife, but in everything that I do, I always think of the Blessed Mother.
Mary, I give you my heart. Set it on fire with love for Jesus, with love for Jesus, with love for Jesus.
For some reason, I could feel that the burden or the load gets easier. You know, sometimes even at work, I said, oh, this is it. I'm almost done. And, you know, when I try to meet everyone, like as a service or as a way of indirectly bringing the Blessed Mother to them, I am always surprised about the results or the outcome. So with all the struggles that we have in life, you know, we have financial burden, we have disagreements as husbands and wife, you know, problems with the kids. But if you have the Blessed Lady and you fully trust in her, sometimes, somehow, you get the assurance that everything will be all right. So it's that total surrender that we may not see. We may just see the difficulties at the moment, but in the long run, the Blessed Mother will make it okay beyond your expectations. Because she always look up to you, and her love is surpassing. Nobody can really have that love.
Mary, please make of me of all I am and have, whatever most pleases you. Let me be fit instrument in your hands for bringing great glory to God.
So it's been 6 years since Jenny passed away, and the presence of Mary in our lives, she always helps us and comforts us. My goal right now is to bring the Legion of Mary to different parishes in the DuPage County area, because the Legion of Mary to me is like the presence of Mary in the parish. All the work that we do is really the work of the Blessed Mother, and we're just her hands and feet. We do the work. When we bring people to Mary, she brings them to Jesus, Jesus who is the light of the world.
Our Lady of Fatima will go down as the greatest of Marian apparitions in history. It all began on May 13th in the year 1917 when 3 shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos, her cousins Francisco Marto and Jacinta Marto, witnessed a vision of the Virgin Mary standing in front of them in the fields of Cova de Iria. They received messages of peace and of prayer, and they even saw a vision of hell. Many thousands of people began to gather in that area, and they saw the children there seeing the Virgin Mary, the Blessed Mother of God. These messages were distributed to the faithful, made it all around the world, making Fatima the greatest of all Marian devotions. The greatest miracle that happened related to Fatima was the Great Sun Miracle, which occurred on October 13th, in which the thousands of people there who had been gathered to hear those messages of Our Lady and to witness a miracle were drenched in a rainstorm, and they looked up to the sky and they saw the sun growing in size and spinning and descending on them. Was it mass hallucination? I'm not quite sure. The people there who were drenched previously were instantaneously dried, and people witnessed this miracle from many miles away. Our Lady of Fatima goes down as one of the greatest apparitions in church history, and Pope John Paul II beatified two of those visionaries and released the third secret of Fatima that related to the assassination of a bishop in white. He, of course, relates that to his own assassination attempt on the Feast of Our Lady of Fatima, taking the bullet from that assassination and placing it in the crown of Our Lady of Fatima. Our Lady of Fatima will go down as the greatest Marian apparition in the history of the Catholic Church.
I love you. I need you. I thank you, Mary, my mother.
Someone who's used media a lot in evangelization, so I believe in the importance of Catholic radio, Catholic TV, Catholics using the new media. Can I encourage everyone to watch Shalom TV? I think it's a great vehicle of evangelization. And God bless all of you.